All right, new project. So I posted a video of this glass a while back. As you know, if you follow along, I had a buyout. There was an estate, and in it was this piece that had already been cut, a 15-inch circle, quite large, that's already been cut. And I couldn't fully decide looking at the catalog what the glass is, but consensus is it's probably lacy white. So this gentleman used Bullseye glass like I do. He also used fused glass, or excuse me, stained glass, and so I was a little concerned that this might not be fusible, but I'm fairly certain, based on his stockpile, the way he separated his glass, and then photos of this online, that this is lacy white. Now, lacy white is a striker, so this mottled cool effect here that you can see through it will largely go away, and it'll just become a soft white. There may be some variation in color according to the the firing notes that are on Bullseye. So if you aren't familiar, Bullseye's website has a lot of resources about their individual glass, and so I looked up lacy white. Now, it said this was actually designed for stained glass applications, but it is tested compatible. Reading about it online, it seems like people have had some issues with this, but I'm willing to risk it. So this is filthy, as you can see, because this guy had everything out in a storage shed. So I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to cut another base circle to go underneath this of a different color, and I think I'm going to go kind of bold. I'll see maybe a turquoise or something like that. This is non-reactive, so you don't have to worry about reactions. And then we'll just see what happens. To me, it's worth risking in order to see what I get. So play along and see what happens next. So I'm going to cut my circle of my large sheet of glass. I'm going to get that cleaned up, this cleaned up. I will put a clear, dusting a clear powder in between. I'll show you all that in just a moment. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't sure that was gonna work, so I don't know if you could tell in the video, but I had this scrap of mint green, which I think was really cool, and like barely enough room to try to cut a circle out, like barely. And this glass is cold because I'm out in the studio and it's February, but by golly, I did it. So there is a beautiful piece of mint green, and I'm going to clean that up, but the intention here was to then cut a piece that was a little bit bigger, see, so that now there's going to be something of a rim. Now this is going to pull in just a little bit, but then I'll have a nice kind of neat colorful rim on the outside. One more note about the tools that I use, because people are going to ask. So this is the Toyo circle cutter, and I've been super happy with this. If you watch my videos, you've seen I've played with a variety of different circle cutters over time, but I really, really like this one. So that's that. And then you may have seen me use some running pliers. These are Silberschnitt running pliers, which are made a little bit different, and I use them right around the edge. They're really good for circles because you can kind of turn and get different leverage depending on where you have this piece turned. And so I really like these. They're not cheap, but you know, it results in sometimes some pretty good scores and breaks for those. So I didn't make this a technique video, but I cut my circle, I flipped the glass, I pressed around it to run my score, and then flipped it back over and popped the glass out. There were a couple of spots where it was a little tight and I had to use my running pliers to get those off, but people always ask, so I thought I'd show you very quickly what tools I used. Okay, so now I've done a clear layer of powder, and so people often ask about this. It is just clear, transparent powder, and you use a sifter. I've got mine marked clear so I don't mess it up with any other glass. And a very thin layer will help eliminate some bubbles. I mean, obviously you need to do a bubble squeeze when you do a firing, but a clear layer of powder can help with that as well. So I took the lid to that jar, and put it under here. I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can kind of see the halo of that, which just allows me to get up under here and pick this up easier. And I put it on a piece of paper because then I can collect all the powder that went off the edge and put it back in my jar. So I'm going to take this piece, put it over to my kiln, and then I'm going to clean the top piece and very carefully put it down on top of this to try not to disrupt that powder and to make sure that I have it centered. All right, lacy white it was. It looks like this fused really well to the mint green. And so on the back, that's my back. And you can kind of see how, I mean, this is nice and smooth. So you can see how that kind of created a color rim all the way around. So I'm real pleased with that. Not many bubbles, nothing came to the top. So I think it's time to slump this into a bowl shape. All right, so this is my largest mold. It's a Bullseye ball surface mold. It's actually step 1, forgive my mess over here, of the 3-step deep bowl set of molds that Bullseye has. I've actually never used all 3 of these. I bought these in a buyout and haven't used them yet, and I don't think this is the time. I'm just not feeling it. Honestly, I don't feel like experimenting too much, and particularly with lacy white, which is known to kind of be a little frustrating anyway. So I'm gonna slump this. I'm gonna go on a slow ramp up, and we'll see what it looks like when it comes out. And here it is, this ginormous piece. Let's see here, 14.5 inches in diameter after the slump. And I'm real pleased with it. I think, let's see if I can even flip this thing without hitting the camera. I think that beautiful mint green turned out nice. This is a color I don't use very often, but boy, I'm glad I used it here. I think it's nice. Just a simple white bowl. I just had this week a request for an auction donation for a local charity, so this is going to be my auction donation. Now, in that ball mold, as you see, it's a little rocky. So what I like to do, some people will cold work the bottom on a flat lap. That's a possibility. You could maybe put a little disc of fiber paper in the bottom of the mold and kind of make a flat spot. I didn't want to do that. But what I decided to do, I have lots of these cabinet bumpers in different shapes and sizes. I bought a multi-pack on Amazon, and so I like to place those, probably use this size, and I'll put 4 of those on there, and depending on, there's a little trial and error, but depending on where you place them, then it usually sits pretty nicely on a flat base. So that's what I'll be doing with this. Hope you all learned something from this and enjoyed the video. Catch you all later. Bye-bye.